Hello and welcome. I'm really thrilled that you chose to be here with me today. This is a free training webinar. We're going to be focusing on Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, about getting ahead with these 5 strategies that profitable investors rely on. We're going to be sharing the magic with you today. My name is Kitty Howard, and I'm an investor myself. I'm also an author and an educator in the cryptocurrency space. We're going to look at the 5 faithful practices that profitable investors do follow. You're going to discover today exactly how everyday people become Bitcoin millionaires. We're going to reveal and solve some of the biggest problems that new investors are facing and that are keeping you from becoming a millionaire in the crypto space yourself. We're going to see and look at what's actually possible for you based on a lot actually, of examples that already exist from people who have started a little sooner than you are starting and have succeeded quite well. And you have the same opportunity ahead of you because cryptocurrency and the asset class are new, so there is lots of room for growth. Also, at the end of this video, I'm going to be revealing an opportunity to work together if that's something that interests you. If you find a lot of value in the presentation that I'm commencing with right now, you learn a lot, it makes sense to you, you find value in it, and you think by going deeper, it'll help you become a successful crypto investor yourself, then I encourage you to consider joining the program, and I'll be talking more about it towards the end. So let's meet a few normal everyday people who have changed their lives by investing in this new asset class. This here is Carl Rundfeld. Now he's from Sweden. He was a grocery store clerk. He used to put all the items on the shelves and cash out clients at the checkout. And he became interested in Bitcoin specifically, and he spent a number of years diving into it, and from his education and his learning, he was able to become a millionaire. He's since opened his own company, and he works in the blockchain space. This is Eric Finkman. He was 12 years old when he made his first Bitcoin investment. Imagine that. His grandmother gave him $1,000 and he put it into Bitcoin after asking his brother about it when he saw a guy at a rally wearing a t-shirt. And he said to his brother, what is that? What's Bitcoin? And his brother told him, he says, Eric, that's going to take down Wall Street one day. So it piqued his interest. He gave it a shot, and by the time he turned 19 years old, he'd amassed $6 million. He also started his own company, a startup, and is working on that now. Rachel Siegel was living in a small, dark apartment in New York. She was a substitute teacher when she first found out about Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies and began investing. She would put what was left over from her paycheck into the investment, which was only usually around $25 each pay period, and she managed to grow that into making herself a millionaire. She also now has a business and works in the industry. Not everybody needs to open a business. It's okay, no pressure there. So what do we do here? We help our clients like yourself come and participate in trainings, and we help people set up and secure cryptocurrency investing. So like these diagrams, everybody starts off new, not knowing really anything about cryptocurrency or digital assets or the asset class as a whole. And we give you the information so that we can move you into that stacked class and make some pretty impressive changes in life. So I think my video is going to be blocking some of the words on your screen, so I'm just going to move it out of my way, but I'm sure it's still in your way. Anyhow, moving along. There are 5 ways that profitable investors generate massive returns. And you're going to discover in this training exactly how to generate a return on your investment with investing in the Bitcoin and digital asset class space. We are showing you strategies that outperform other strategies and definitely outperform you if you tried to go it alone. As a bonus, what we are focusing on here is the strategies that bring investors through on a low stress margin. Day traders, it's a lot of information, it's all over the place, but what we're focused on is low stress, low action pack with immense returns on a long enough timeline. So we're not going to be discussing anything that's over your head, and we're going to skip the crazy volatility, but I'm going to explain it to you, and that way you'll understand why you won't need to worry about it as much as you think you might now. So here are the magic 5. It is necessary to learn the fundamentals. Now, I'm not talking about deep diving into all the really hardcore software technicals. Like, we all have the fundamentals on how to use a smartphone. Therefore, we can use it. We don't need to know how they make microprocessors in order to use our smartphone and benefit from it. Same with driving a car. If you know how to operate it safely, you can get from A to B without crashing, and you don't need to know how to build the motor itself or how all the electronics in the vehicle works. We need to know the fundamentals so that it's favorable to us as we begin our investment journey. All right, number 2, it's important, it's vital to plan your investment. People always skip this step, and without a plan, you are setting up for disaster. Number 3, we set up the purchasing strategy. So now you've got the basics, you have a plan in place, and now you're ready to make a purchase. We walk you through each and every one of those steps, followed by protecting the investments you bought once you made those purchases. And then number 5, from your secure place of storage where you have all of your Bitcoin or XRP or Ethereum or Shiba Inu or whatever it is that you decide works for your investment plan, there's going to be a profit-taking strategy. It's not just willy-nilly. There are times to do all of these things. All right, so who are we and how do we help? I already introduced myself. My name's Kitty. Glad you're here. And the 3 earlier stories that we touched on before is just a small segment of examples of everyday people. And it would be great to add you to that list of everyday people who changed their lives through investing. We help business professionals and new investors start and grow a cryptocurrency portfolio securely. We are focused on risk management and security all the way through. You are in control of your investment the entire time. We're not brokers. We don't invest on anyone's behalf. We're not interested in that element. It's not our expertise. Teaching is our expertise. We provide you the steps, you follow them, and you do pretty well along the way. All right. We've helped a lot of students understand digital assets faster because we've been able to strip away all of the extraneous information and just made everything nice and crystal clear. And again, just simple steps. We take away the busyness so that we can focus on what is necessary and mandatory for success. And that allows you as a new investor to get started quicker with less stress than if you were just trying to go it alone. So here's some of what our students are saying. We've got a few examples here, and these are genuine sentiments from our students. And I get really happy because it's a lot of work to take complex information and simplify it. And we've been able to do that. So I really love reading these. Judy said, this program was easy to follow and not complicated by useless filler information. And then Jonathan said, the cautions concerning scams and protecting funds were especially helpful and certainly necessary for the beginner. Corey said, this program does a fantastic job of making a complex topic understandable. And Rebecca said, this program was so easy to understand. She wished she had it years ago when she first contemplated Bitcoin as an investment for herself. So what does everybody have in common? Every one of us, I believe, have the desire for financial stability, an opportunity to build security for our lives, and the ability to generate wealth. We all just want to win in life. And security, financial security especially, is something that makes that possible. So is this for you? Does it make sense for you to be watching this webinar and perhaps go further into the training? So this video is for beginners with very little or even no knowledge about Bitcoin or the cryptocurrency space. It's for people who have perhaps dabbled a little bit, gotten overwhelmed, and don't really know where to go from here. It's for people who have serious concerns about what's going on in the economy nowadays, and you might be worried about how you could protect your money, keep it secure, and even grow it through investment vehicles. You might even be somewhat experienced and now might be looking for new profit strategies so that you can have a better return on the investment you've already made. You may also be interested in learning how to have full control and be in complete custody of all the assets that you have now or may purchase in the future. Not everybody holds their own Bitcoin or Ethereum or Dogecoin themselves. A lot of people keep it on exchanges, and we've learned that that's not always the best idea. We want to be able to have self-custody and be able to be in control of our own money at all times. So if any of that sounds like you, definitely hang around, take some notes. This is going to be a lot of fun. So let's move on. I want you to know why this program is awesome, what we're doing here today now together. You are obviously not sitting here with me, so it's possible for you to be anywhere in the world right now, as long as you have an internet connection. That means you can invest anywhere from anywhere in the world as well. This space of digital assets is incredibly profitable over a long enough timeline. I'm going to show you some timelines to give you examples of what's already occurred in the space and understand that it's a new asset class. So imagine buying property in Manhattan, New York, at the beginning of the 1900s. It's this kind of opportunity ahead of us. We are still early. Nobody here is too late to invest in cryptocurrencies. You make more money investing than you would keeping your money in a safe at home, under the mattress, or even in a bank account. Even if your bank account, your savings account, is paying out a small percent, often there's monthly dues, and certainly there is the issue of inflation. You get to secure your future against inflation by being able to increase the purchasing power of the money you have now, and you can do that through investing. And with digital assets, you can actually become your own bank, holding the assets and controlling them completely yourself. Here's some other examples of real people who changed their life. Daniel Crocker, he is an IT specialist. He used to chat with his buddies at work and mostly about side hustles and how to make some extra money. Bitcoin came up in conversation one day, and after doing his own research, he did end up investing. And what happened for him was that Bitcoin helped him buy a house. That's a big deal. We want to make sure we're in safe neighborhoods and in comfortable areas. Heather Delane, she's from the UK, and she started with £5. I don't think that's like $5 or $10 or something now. And she says here in the interview that I know loads of people who have done exciting things with their investments, but for her, it's really just part of her pension plan. She's worrying about or focusing on retirement. And already at the time that the article, you can see the link on the bottom of the page, that the article was written, she was already up over 500%. You can't do that in real estate in a couple or a few years. And as using Bitcoin as a long-term investment means that she's not stressed out by the volatility in the market because she's waiting for her retirement. And then this is Jeremy Gardner. He fell in love with Bitcoin when he realized that anyone, you, me, him, whoever, with an internet connection can send money to anybody else. Now that might be paying for your Starbucks coffee in your hometown. That might be sending money to family on the other side of the country, or if you've got a kid on a gap year who's touring in Europe somewhere, or to the other side of the world, you can transact and send money frictionlessly when you operate within Bitcoin. So for Jeremy here, he said that by dedicating his life to crypto assets and blockchain technology, he's made more money than he would have ever expected to make in his entire life by a long shot. He's another one that got into business in the space, and he's doing quite well. So this is where the magic comes in. Again, remember, we're taking this super complex topic of cryptocurrency. We're shrinking it down to a focus on long-term strategic investment planning. And this is how we do that. We learn the fundamentals, we plan the investment, we set up the purchase strategy, we protect the investment once it's been made, and then we focus on a profit-taking strategy that's proficient and that you can refine over time and through cycles. All of these are very important. So let's look at a little bit of the fundamentals. A lot of new people have no idea why Bitcoin even has value at all. And that's because Bitcoin was designed intentionally to have the same properties as money, and it is now more profitable than holding dollars in a savings account by a long shot. A lot of this information may be new to you. Some viewers, this might not be new to, but I'm going to be working through this slowly, step by step, so that it's streamlined and simplified for everyone. So even in 2023, Bitcoin is still outperforming gold, real estate, treasuries, the NASDAQ, technology stocks, that's like Amazon, Google, Facebook, all of those guys, the S&P 500, and crude oil. It's beating everybody. This article from January 26 in Forbes magazine under their digital assets column says Goldman Sachs finds that Bitcoin tops gold, the S&P, NASDAQ as the best performing asset, that's of all classes, in 2023. And let's look at what that looks like. So here's the chart that Goldman Sachs put together at the beginning of that year, 2023. Bitcoin's way up on top, and it stretches out way behind the box where my head is floating on your screen right now. But you can see it far exceeds communication services, gold, here's real estate, here are 10-year treasury bills. There's the NASDAQ down there. I don't even know what a Russell growth is. S&P is way down here. The euro is down there. There's crude oil, and healthcare and utilities and consumer staples are in the negatives. What I'd like to also point out for your attention is that Bitcoin has also been the best performing asset through an entire decade from 2011 through to 2021. And I imagine all the assets dropped in 2020-22. That's when the crash happened. That's when the war in Europe was going on. And that's why it's so incredible, because the markets, all of the markets, have been coping with all of these events, which include inflation, the increasing cost of living, the supply chain issues still left over from the whole health crisis, the war still going on in Europe at the time of this recording, the rising interest rates, which are increasing mortgage rates, as well as credit card and other debt payments. And those aren't just debt payments that are affecting us as consumers. Businesses, corporations, and governments all borrow and all have to service those debts, and it's affecting everybody. So for Bitcoin to be doing exceptionally well, far surpassing the other ones, is a really great point that we really need to hit home on here. So these are all good reasons to be saving and investing in the most profitable investment vehicles available to us. If Bitcoin and digital currencies don't end up being your comfort zone, that's fine. But learning to invest in something stable that's going to hold value or grow value for you is important during these times. In contrast to the action of Bitcoin, I just want to touch on what the dollar is actually worth. So this diagram here, it shows, it starts actually in 1900, and it shows way up at the top here how the value of the dollar was at that time. We had World War I, and that's where this all dipped down here. US President Roosevelt, what is he? I can't read that from here. Oh, that's when he criminalized the possession of gold. That happened. It was illegal to own gold in the US. The Bretton Woods Agreement came in, but you can see from here, since it's become illegal to hold gold, it's changed a little bit over time. The value, purchasing power, value of the dollar has declined steadily. Here in 1971, President Nixon took the US dollar off the gold standard, meaning cash money, US cash money, Canadian cash money as well. They did this, they took theirs off the gold standard as well. Other countries had done it. Since then, there is nothing backing, there's no resource, there's nothing backing the amount of dollars in circulation. And this is why it's becoming less valuable. It's why it continues to drop. And it's why we're losing purchasing power. And that's why ultimately it seems that things are costing more, because our dollar is actually worth less. It's basically inflation in a nutshell. I hope that made sense enough for you. So when it looks like the value of your house is going up, and it's great because you get more money when you sell it, but what's really happening is the value of the dollars decreased, and you just need more dollars to buy the same house. What's interesting about this diagram is this, you see how far it's already come down here? The diagram stops in 2020, so it doesn't even include the extra $13 trillion that were printed during the crisis at the time. So let's look a little deeper at Bitcoin specifically and what dollar cost averaging looks like. Dollar cost averaging is when you choose an amount of money, say it's $50 or $100 or $1,000, whatever works for you, and you invest that money into the same vehicle every period, whether it's every week or every month. That's dollar cost averaging. We do that when we're saving for our retirements, typically. So that probably sounds familiar to you. So if we look over these last 10 years, between 2012 to 2022, we can see that if you spent the same amount of money, let's just say $100 for instance, if you were buying $100 of Bitcoin every Monday of every week of the year, if you averaged it over the 52 weeks, you would have averaged out to $62 per Bitcoin during 2012. Now you follow that same example of throwing that $100 in every Monday, and in 2013, it valued at $388. And then it nearly tripled, and then it went up just a little bit, and then it started to double. So we go from 1,100 to 2,200 to over 5,600, almost hitting $10,000, then $11,000. It's in these times where there's not a lot of movement, like this 968 to just over 1,000, just under 1,000 to just over 1,000. It's in those times where the market's slipping again. And let me show you, this is why I put in these red arrows. Whenever the news is like, Bitcoin's crashing, it's a bubble, Bitcoin is dead, it's just a market consolidation. It happens in every market. For a little while, it goes up, the economy is doing great, people are buying more. This is in stocks and everything, right? There's times where there's more real estate being bought, times where there's less. And then something happens and there's a little downtick. So I threw some of these red arrows in here to show you where these downticks happen. They happen with some regularity. And there's actually a market cycle that we do further training on. But what I'd like to point out, not only in the numbers here, which are constantly going up, like in these 10 years, at no point did the average price go down until we hit 2022. And it wasn't even by that much, right? $43,000 versus $40,000. So what I want to point out is the big white line. Everybody's worried about the jig-jag up and down of the volatility in the orange chart, but what we see is actually a nice steady increase in price over the course of these 10 years. So Bitcoin versus gold versus the S&P 500, this is a growth comparison. So Bitcoin we can see is in orange way up here. Yep, there's a lot of volatility. The price is freaking out all the time. Every time it dips, people lose their minds and sell. New people lose their minds and sell at a loss. And when, you could wait a minute, again, following the arrows, versus the gold in yellow here and the S&P in blue here, you can see that both of those assets also went up over the course of time, but not to the degree that Bitcoin did. So again, even in 2023, now in the middle of March, we can see from CNBC that Bitcoin is already up 50% this year, again, beating out stocks as well as gold. I threw this in because this is an important piece for a lot of people, and you might be one of those people. The former Coinbase chief technical officer is urging people to get into Bitcoin before central bank digital currencies start coming into play. Now, the UK has already launched theirs. I think Australia is looking at launching theirs very soon. China has one, and those digital currencies will be controlled, created and controlled by the government. It'll become part of the economic landscape and monetary policy, but Bitcoin is separate, and it was designed in a decentralized manner. So let's learn more about that. Bitcoin was, let's just take a break, because that might have been a lot, right? Ultimately, what we covered there is that Bitcoin goes up faster than everything else, despite its volatility. All right. So Bitcoin actually launched, it's the first main digital currency that's ever launched and held traction, and now has proven itself as a viable asset. It was created and actually written out in 2008 during the financial crisis, when the mortgages and the banks all fell apart at that time. They coded it, and then it released in January of 2009. It was created as an alternative to national currencies, and thus aspires to be a medium of exchange as well as a store of value. So not only money, but like gold as a store of value. And that's why it's often called digital gold. The Bitcoin network is the most secure network on the planet, hands down. It has thousands of nodes all over the world. And that's why the more decentralized something is, the more secure it is, because it's not one guy, one company, one entity. It is spread out, and everybody's maintaining it and watching it and paying attention to it. And the amount of electricity that goes into it and the encryption all help take care of it. It is decentralized, and it has never been broken into or shut down by hackers. It has been the best performing asset of all classes, as we've already covered. And for tax reasons, it's considered a property, which means it's more favorably taxed for us as investors than some other asset classes. So that's a really great thing to know. Am I talking too fast? I don't want this to take hours. I want to be done in under an hour. So this is what I'm aiming for here for you. What I want you to understand, though, as someone new, again, is why Bitcoin has value and how it can be considered money. So it actually has all the traits of money, with the exception of it not being controlled or issued by a government. It is decentralized, as we mentioned. So, but it is high in everything else. So we're comparing it to dollars. Dollars are now called fiat dollars because they're not backed by gold as a commodity. Remember, since 1971, when Nixon turned it off from the gold standard. And so what fiat means actually is by decree, by decree means I said so. It has value because I'm the guy in charge and I say it does. And ultimately it's because we agree it does. Like, I know what $100 looks like. You know what $100 looks like. If we exchange it, that means it is fungible and we're both happy knowing that we have an equal value of money in our hands. So Bitcoin's like that too. A Bitcoin wallet knows that that's a Bitcoin coming at it and not an Ethereum token or a Shiba Inu or a XRP or something else. That's identifiable through the software by my wallet, by your wallet, by the exchanges. We can see that it's Bitcoin, and you can look on the blockchain where all transactions are recorded. It's non-consumable, meaning it doesn't need any alterations whatsoever to make it what it is, to make it money. It's portable. It lives on the blockchain. You can access it from apps on your phone, from apps on your computer, from a cold storage offline hardware wallet. And that means that you can, or even a paper wallet, if you remember your code, you can travel anywhere in the world and you can pick it up wherever you are and wherever you want to be. So it's super duper portable. Gold, a little less so. If you need to move $1 million worth of gold, you need a lot of guys to help you out, right? You need like a truck, maybe armored guards, probably an airplane or something. So high portability versus moderate portability. Durability, Bitcoin is very durable because it is code on the blockchain. Fiat dollars, our money supply, is less durable because it goes through the washing machine. It can rip, it can degrade, it can be written on, it can catch on fire. Yes, so it's less durable. Gold, of course, is metal, so it's pretty durable. Bitcoin is highly divisible. It actually has 8 decimal points, so it goes to the million. That's why our earlier examples were able to buy like $5 or $25 worth of cryptocurrency in incremental investments. It's highly secure and it cannot be counterfeited, whereas cash currency, as well as gold, have both been able to be counterfeited. Bitcoin cannot. Gold is not easily transactable. It's hard to go to the grocery store and buy with, an ounce of gold. It's, they can't make change for that. So, but we do know that it's easy to transact in dollars and it's easy to transact in Bitcoin because I can shoot it to you whether you're across the table, across town, or across the world. Scarcity, gold is still being mined at about 2% per year, depending on what the miners want to do. So that supply is still increasing, which will in a sense, devalue gold in a way as more comes into circulation. Paper dollars are really not scarce at all. They've been printing trillions upon trillions of them over the last few years, and that's reducing the value of the dollar and the purchasing power, like we spoke of. Whereas Bitcoin specifically, not all cryptos, just Bitcoin specifically, is highly scarce because there will only ever be 21 million of them minted. At the time of this recording, and actually since around October, I think, of 2022, there was 19 million Bitcoins brought into circulation in total since 2009. Now, the last 2 million, it's going to take longer. So the very last one actually won't come into existence until about 100 years from now. In 2140 is when that last Bitcoin is expected to pop up. So it is very scarce. There's not a lot floating around. A lot of people have bought them up already. And this is what's helping increase the value of them, is that scarcity. We already know it's decentralized, and we already know it's not issued by governments or central banks. So another thing we can add to that list is that when you are in control and in self-custody of your digital assets, whether they're Bitcoin or otherwise, it can't be confiscated by anyone. Like how the government can go into your bank account and take out your taxes, or there were some rallies during the health events of 2020 through 2022, and some people's assets were seized during that time. Can't happen if you hold your own. And that's an important thing to be aware of. It's also why we advocate towards it. And it's also why we teach it and teach about it and make sure you're informed. Now, another little break. I've been talking a lot, I know. All right. So I know the environment is important. It's important to me. I'm sure it's important to you. It's certainly important for the welfare of humanity on the planet. So let's just go for it. Hey, did you know that Bitcoin uses, what's the word here? Consumes, sorry, my face is in the way. That Bitcoin consumes less energy than Google, Netflix, or Facebook. Bitcoin mining is the most efficient and cleanest industrial use of electricity, and it is improving its energy efficiency at the fastest rate across any major industry. The metrics of the report where this information came from show that 59.5% of energy for Bitcoin mining comes from sustainable sources, and energy efficiency has been improving 46% year over year. That is massive. So let's look at the numbers just for fun. So it costs around $4 to $5 billion in energy that's utilized to power and safeguard that network, that most secure network on the planet. And the network is worth $420 billion today. So it's a very small percentage of the overall value to secure that network. So this makes Bitcoin far less energy intensive than Google, than Netflix, than Facebook, and 1 to 2 orders of magnitude less energy intensive than traditional 20th century industries, including airlines, logistics like Amazon and Walmart moving, or Alibaba, like everything moving across the planet. So logistics, retail, hospitality, and agriculture. This report was headed up by Michael Saylor. He's one of the founders of MicroStrategies and one of the first companies that put Bitcoin on the book during the health crisis in 2020 to stabilize the value of his organization. And it worked. That's an important piece. So how is Ethereum different from Bitcoin? There are thousands of cryptocurrencies, and there are certainly categories, but many of them have different purposes and different real-life uses. So not much later than 2009, in 2015, Ethereum launched. Its blockchain technology can be used for many purposes, whereas Bitcoin is focused on money and store of value. Ethereum was intended as a platform to facilitate programmable contracts, like we have contracts in business or whatever, businesses, relationships, sales, all kinds of contracts, as well as applications, DeFi, and NFTs, which are non-fungible tokens. Those are similar to anything that's tradable or unique and individual, like a piece of art, a trading card, a piece of music, something like that. Ether is the token. It's the money for the Ethereum network. And it is used mainly for trading as a digital currency on exchanges. It can be held also as an investment, and it can be used to purchase goods and services, as well as to pay transaction fees on the network when you're using it. All right, just to recap. So Bitcoin is the highest performing asset across all asset classes. It has all the same properties as money, except for it's decentralized and not controlled by governments. It uses sustainable energy sources to protect its network and generate new Bitcoins. It's been creating wealth for people since the beginning. We can use it peer-to-peer without the use of any type of third party. And for Ethereum, it changes and improves the way business works. They're doing wonderful things for businesses, and lots of businesses and governments are looking at Ethereum. So it's why it's number 2 against Bitcoin and very, very strong as an investment. Governments are developing their own central bank digital currencies. They're being developed, and they have already been launched in a few countries that we mentioned earlier. blockchain technology and cryptocurrencies all have real world use cases that are valuable to the advancement, not only in technology, but in society as a whole. Also, it's important to note that institutional investors, so we're talking about big banks, hedge funds, anywhere where you can store and invest money, they're getting involved. So companies like BlackRock, Fidelity, Bank of New York, Mellon, JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, they're all developing departments for blockchain and also to secure and custody assets, mostly, of course, for corporations and people who have, people or corporations who have large accounts. That's who they are serving. But certainly knowing that those large institutions are serving those people to the tune of billions of dollars in value, we know and we can feel confident that this is an industry and an asset class that is hanging around that everybody's focused on. And what's important that we keep reminding you is that you can be in control of your own assets at all times. So, as a new investor, what kind of problems are you facing? There are a lot of them, actually. And you might be very aware of some of them. So, you're new, meaning you don't know very much. And I tell you, I've been in here for almost 5 years now. And the more I learn, the more I realize how vast and quickly evolving the space is. Like there's DeFi, there's the metaverse, there's the NFTs, like there's all these different spaces. It's mind-boggling. And then there's the economy. So it's why I focus specifically on long-term investing in high quality assets that have historical growth in value. That's my zone. That's where I want to be. All right. So also as somebody new, you might not only be new to crypto, you could also be new to investing just on a whole. Maybe you've never invested in retirement funds or treasuries or bonds or anything. So that might be a problem as well. New people don't know how to make plans as a result. They lack any kind of strategy involving their investment. That's how they lose money. And maybe you're one of these people who have already lost some. I certainly lost money at the beginning of my my journey, my adventure into crypto. It is definitely an adventure. And what we like to, address is that when we're new, part of the money that we might lose at the beginning is our investment in our education into the space. So, of course, I did start buying courses, I did more studying, more research, and this is why I'm, again, focused on long-term investment. You might not know what to buy. People are often asking me, Kitty, what do I buy? I have no idea what to buy. And it's something that you need to decide on based on your risk tolerance and what your investment strategy is going to look like. You might not know where to buy it, and there's a lot of considerations there. You might be wondering about timing the market. Am I in too late? Am I in too early? What's going on? When's it going to go up? When's it going to come down? Certainly, as we are aware, there are a lot of global events that have been going on the last few years, and they continue. And global events do affect what happens not only on the stock market, but also in the cryptocurrency space. It does move prices. So where does that leave you? It might leave you really overwhelmed, like the guy looking at the chalk line there going, oh my goodness, I just want to get invested because I know it's going to be good for me. I understand the prices go up over time. I know it's a way that I can increase my personal net worth and feel good about protecting myself and even my family and the other people that I love. So you want to get unfrozen, unstuck, as it were. And sometimes that's made more easy when we have mentors and help, because without it, we tend to stand still for a very long time. I want to look a little more at some of these dangers because, of course, you're more than welcome to go it on your own. A lot of people do, but maybe because of being new, I think a lot of people don't understand that those professional day traders, they have most of them have degrees in economics or finance or similar, whereas a lot of new crypto traders don't even know how to budget their daily expenses, right? And I'm not saying that that's you, but sometimes there's a big dichotomy there where people are like, oh, it's going to be so easy. It isn't. And also the hedge funds and trading organizations, they have automation. Like they've got some serious like AI technology that they're using that a new day trader would never win against. So keeping that in mind. Also, new people tend to have a short-term mindset. They're like, I'm going to put in my $100 and I'm going to be rich by Wednesday. It's not going to happen, right? So there's certainly is a path to getting rich. It rarely happens immediately, but investing in cryptocurrency is better to be looked at as a long game, as a longer term investment, minimum a few years, like 3, 4, 5, if not longer. And you just need to protect your assets during that time. And then you can be high rolling. Of course, you have to get there first. A lot of new people, there was a lot of problems, not we personally, but there was a lot of problems in the industry in 2022. We saw that the massive exchange called FTX had a fraud against its clients, its depositors, and it basically decimated all the investor accounts and caused a string of insolvencies. So using exchanges to buy cryptocurrencies, that's okay. So long as you've done your homework, you find one that's reputable. We help you do that inside the program. You want to look at, but let's do it a little bit now. You want to find something that's reputable, something that you're able to access, and you want to also make sure that you're taking your assets off of it and not using it as a bank account. Scams, you're the weakest link because you're new, right? You might not know that there are fake websites out there that look like the real websites. You might not know that there are people sending you fake email messages that look at almost exactly like the real email messages that come from your exchange. They might be saying, hey, you need to re-sign in or you need to update your credentials. And if you click those links will send you to that bad guy in the picture there, and he's going to steal all your money, all your assets. New people who decide to give trading a whirl will often use leverage. It's like borrowing money from the exchange or like being at a casino and the house gives you extra to do your betting. You can actually trade, you can double it by doing it 2 times or up to 100 times the value of what you put in out of your own pocket. And when that trade fails, you lose not only your money, but you are down an awful lot of money. So what else? Buying at the right time, having an entry as well as an exit strategy. These people are in the wrong line. I don't know, can you see if I move my little floaty head? The second guy who's looking lonely there, his Bitcoin price is only $20,000, but everybody's lining up when it's $69,000. And that's what happened in 2021. Is that right? November 2021, when all the news was going. And this is markets psychology. This is what euphoria looks like. People line up and go, oh my God, it's going to $100,000 on Wednesday. And they buy at the wrong time. They don't understand there's a market cycle, which includes a consolidation. And remember those red arrows I showed you earlier where the price goes down? It goes down, and then these people freak out and sell at a loss, and that's how they lose their money, because they bought at the wrong time and sold at the wrong time. And I don't want that to be you. It can be different for you. And just, I think this is the last note on this. Don't use debt, much like the leverage, to buy your assets. It's just silly. Why? Because the people using debt are probably these same people that are buying in too late in the market cycle, right before the consolidation happens, and they don't get the profit they were expecting. So not only did the value of their investment go down, but now they have debt that they need to service. And maybe they don't have enough cash flow to do that. So that is a very bad idea, which is why I want you to be aware of it, because when you're aware, you can avoid it. We also know that emotions and money are tight, they're hand in hand. We are probably all aware that if you read magazines and newspapers or online news, at least, that most marriages fail due to financial reasons. And I will just leave that there. So anyway, having an emotional response to your trading can leave you wrecked, meaning you lose everything or almost everything you invested. This is why planning is so important. This is why you need to have a strategy. This is why you need to have an entry and an exit strategy in order to take profits. And it doesn't have to be overwhelming. When you're doing it alone and you're trying to figure it out, it's a ton of information and it's hard to go through. I had the benefit of being able to make a full-time job of it, and I'm really happy that I was able to do that. And it still took me years to figure out everything I'm sharing with you, not only here, but in the program I mentioned at the beginning of this video. It's important to have help. It means when you have help, it means you have a bridge from not knowing anything to knowing a heck of a lot more over the course of some time with online study and support. And then you can just get to where you want to go, which is with a mindful of understanding, to be mindful about what to keep an eye out for and what to expect and what risks you are facing, and to be thoughtful and practice not only safe storage, but also how you're going to get your profits out at the end. So this is the whole focus. This is the solution to everything that is the struggle you might be facing now. We're teaching the fundamentals. We're creating an investment plan. We're establishing, setting up your accounts. I do not set up your account. You set up your own account, because this is all about you being in control of your journey in investment yourself. That's how you stay safe. You don't share your information with anybody else. We're just giving you all of the tools and resources you need in order to do that yourself. So learning the fundamentals, creating the investment plan with the workbook planner, setting up the accounts, securing the assets, and figuring out how to be proficient with a profit-taking strategy. We've got our little check boxes across the bottom of the screen there, and that's how it goes. We help our clients learn to secure crypto investing with step-by-step videos so that you stay in control of your own money and all of your assets throughout the whole process. I like this little evolution guy, right? Like he's figuring it out at the beginning, right? So that's what we're doing. We're following a natural progression through gaining knowledge, and then to planning, and then the account setup videos. In those accounting, not accounting, but the setting up the accounts on the exchanges or the platforms where you as an investor would be buying your Bitcoin or Ethereum or XRP or ADA or whatever you want to buy. We provide you with the links to the specific exchanges and platforms, and they are providing you the step-by-step how to set it up, how to fund it, how to make your first purchases, how to do withdrawals, all of these important steps. So again, we're just stripping it all down. Do this, do this, do this, do this. So we're learning along the way, planning, and then setting up the accounts, making it possible to make the purchases of your Bitcoin or whatever it is that your investment plan has decided for you, or you've decided for yourself. All right. And then in the next few steps, we shift towards greater security by taking self-custody of those assets you buy on the exchange, and then look at the profit-taking strategies and how that's going to play out, at the time of the market cycle where that makes the most sense. We want to make sure you're protecting yourself all the way through. So just to break that down a little further, the way we learn is we provide you with enough of the fundamental basics to get you comfortable, right? No overwhelming. This is right. What do I need to know to use this smartphone? Great. And I will continue to learn new things the longer I own it. Same idea. We give you the fundamentals to make you feel comfortable without overwhelming you. We don't overdo it. And then we move along to the next step, which is setting up your personal investment strategy that suits you based on your risk tolerance and timeline, why you are investing, what your objective is, and what else. And also we look at where you're going to be making the initial investment. In this section, in the program, we include a full 25-page workbook. That workbook has information, the similar information that's in the video training, and pages where you're going to fill out your own investment plan. And then you've got it. Then you've got your investment plan. It's with you. If the market does something strange, you can be like, oh, what was my plan? Was I going to sell this year or this month? No, I wasn't. Has anything changed? No, it hasn't. Okay, I'm not going to make any mistakes because you're learning, right? So that's what the workbook is for. As well, we do help you evaluate the exchanges. We provided some charts that show comparison charts that show differences between a selection of reputable exchanges, and we help you evaluate them based on what you need from the exchange. We want you to be able to buy the assets that you want to buy. Not every exchange has every asset. We want to make sure that it has the security features that make you feel comfy and cozy and want to use that exchange. And we want to make sure that you have accessibility. If you happen to travel a lot for work or snowbird, maybe you travel regularly for vacations, short-term or long-term, you want to make sure that you'll be able to access your exchanges or platforms from wherever you physically happen to be on the planet, because not all exchanges are accessible in every region. And we help you determine what that looks like. We make sure, again, because it's so important, we go through what all, not all, because I'm sure they're changing all the time, but primarily what like the main top 10 scams are. We show you images of what they look like, how people try to trick you by using different keystrokes from the computer, like swapping out a 1 for an exclamation mark, things like that, an O for a 0, things like that. So we teach you that so that you can identify if that's something that's being presented to you. And we encourage you to never ever click on anything that doesn't come from a source you've already verified, right? You want to be looking at the email address that something came from. I generally just function through WhatsApp or through my personal Facebook page or my Facebook groups and a little bit on Instagram. And then we explain to you what self-custody looks like with cold storage. This picture here shows you what a Ledger device is. Ledger is my favorite right now. It's the one I use. We include all the setup tutorials. So again, more videos, which are super easy to follow. Just boop, 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 do this, do this, do this, do this. And then after the setup tutorial, there's another tutorial that shows you how to move your asset from the exchange where you just bought it onto the Ledger device. And that's it in a nutshell. But again, we're holding your hand, we're walking you through the whole way. And then how we outline the profit-taking strategies. We give you a couple of different strategies, including how to buy the dip and what some other terminology is, like holding dry powder at certain times, and then also how to reinvest your profits at different times in the market cycle so that you can compound your returns and earn even more. So what is your target? Do you want to grow your investment to, I don't know what you're starting with. So like, are you planning to grow it to $10,000? Are you planning to grow it to $100,000, $500,000, $1 million, way more than that? Do you want to be like Eric, the 19-year-old who had $6 million? Like, do you want to be that guy? Yes. Okay. Then there's a lot of space in front of you, right? We know that all the big investment agencies are focused on Bitcoin, Ethereum, and some others, and that this investment class has been embraced by the whole investment ecosystem. We saw articles from Forbes. We know that Bank of New York Mellon is involved, JP Morgan, what's the other one? Fidelity, Chase, so many of them. Anyway, and that's the important part, is because this is adoption happening in real time. So this course that I am now suggesting to you is the solution you need if you are actually planning on jumping in. Whether you've already started or you're brand new and you want to start, this is the best way to do it. We've got you covered, again, 5 major components: learning the fundamentals, creating the plan with the workbook that we've provided. You're going to establish and set up your accounts, get them funded, make your purchase, secure your assets into cold storage when you're ready. You know, it doesn't have to be all this week. And get proficient with your profit-taking strategies, have them planned, have your handy dandy little book with you so that you can look back and know that I'm going to be pulling it out at this point in the cycle, and I'm going to be doing it in these stages. And then, because I know that consolidations happen, well, I'm going to have another plan in place for when that time comes. So my friend, let me show you. This is the course. Inside the course, you can because it's online, of course, you can access it from your desktop computer, your laptop, even your phone or your tablet. These are screenshots from the program itself. So this is the Beginner's Guide to Cryptocurrency and Investing. It's based on the original book that I wrote, but it is far expanded now because several years have passed. And this is why I can discuss and explain to you profit-taking strategies and the best way to set up your plan from the get-go and keep your assets secured. So just to, I don't know, walk you around a little bit. This is what, when you first get into the course, this is what it looks like on the big computer. We can see there's a welcome to the course video and an outline video. There's more than 30 videos now. That might sound like a lot, or maybe it doesn't sound like many, but remember, we streamlined everything. So every video is one component, right? We don't put them all together. We keep them separate for you. So you just tick along. And you can see here, one of the first videos in the program is what is cryptocurrency. It's the beginning of your learning of the fundamental aspects of the space, and we can carry on to more. We have the 5 main topics, but I've included 6 modules because I like to give you bonuses. And throughout the whole program, we'll give you a little walkthrough. So what is cryptocurrency? Who controls it? We'll give you a bunch of tax information for both American and Canadian citizens, as well as those who travel to or might reside part-time or full-time in Mexico. We give you some really cool, lots of really cool real-world use cases that cryptocurrency and blockchain is being used for today and being developed for in the future. We go over more deeply the schemes and scams that you need to protect yourself from. Then we jump into planning. This is where the workbook comes into place. So there's a section of the workbook for each one of these videos, and you watch the video, you fill out your section, and at the end of this investment planning module, you'll have your investment plan in hand and you'll be ready to go. You then head over to the exchange that you've chosen, you set it up. We've got the step-by-step setups. We've got how to fund it, how to buy your first digital currency, whether it's Bitcoin or something else, and then also how to dollar cost average and how to automate it so that you don't have to think about it so much. This is what the workbook looks like. Of course, it would be printed out on paper from your computer at home, but it is 25 pages long. And this is our beginner's guide to crypto investing workbook. We want you to be bull run ready, and it was created by little old me. Our table of contents covers everything that's in the section for creating your investment. And something out here I'm really proud of is if you're on any of the forums or any of the groups and you're trying to ask questions, a lot of people will say, you got to go and do your own research. And some people get really nasty about it, but then nobody teaches you how to do your own research. So we are doing that also here in this program. This one sheet, every time there's a cryptocurrency, whether it's Bitcoin or I don't know, XRP keeps coming to mind, probably because it's in the news a lot. If you want to research something, this is your checklist. You want to make sure that you're reviewing all these areas, you're reading these documents and doing the right amount of research so that you can feel comfortable making a decision on which assets you will put your money in, or may learn enough information that you decide that, hey, that is not going to be a good investment for me. And you save yourself a lot of money that way. We want to save you money. We want you to grow your money, save it, not, not go the other way with it. So in module 4, this is where we jump into security and we introduce hardware wallets like that Ledger wallet I showed you earlier. We show you the setup videos that come straight from Ledger. And then we have another tutorial that shows you specifically how to transfer from your exchange account onto your Ledger device so that you are in control, because that is the goal. Then we're going to wait around and we're going to learn how to do our profit taking strategy. We give you two different videos on this because there's different strategies that you can take. You want to pick the one that's best for you. And then an extra video about reinvesting, compounding your investment, and buying the dip. All very exciting. You can see how this all moves along really streamlined in a way that makes sense. And you watch the videos at the pace that works for you. As a bonus, because I love giving away extras, I have included a pretty substantial list of masterclasses. Now, these are all links to videos outside of the program. They're for you to watch at your leisure when you decide that that's something you want to do. So rather than, binging on Netflix one weekend, maybe you want to watch a bunch of these videos or even start with just one. I curated particularly from people with high level knowledge who can communicate their ideas very clearly and quite well about broader aspects of the cryptocurrency and blockchain space. It's important to understand more about the money factor, more about the value value prospect, and just more about the space as a whole. So those are there, and I will continue to add to those as I find. I always am learning, I'm always watching. So as more things really hit home, I'm going to add them to that space. There'll never be any additional charges for anything new that I add to the space. So by being a new person, a new member to the group, you will have all the benefits of all the upgrades in the times coming ahead of us, but you get to just pay the one price when you are ready. And I think that's going to be pretty soon, even now. So the Beginner's Guide to Cryptocurrency and Investing full video program is valued at a $5,000 investment. I say investment because this is part of your education. This is part of doing your own research. And we've taken away a lot of the time that it would take you to have figured it out by yourself. We help you get set up faster so that you can grow your profits for longer periods of time. If it takes you a year or 2 years to figure this out by yourself, that means you're missing that year or 2 years of profit generation. We are saving you money because we're helping you make a plan and protect your investment by teaching you what you need to know to do those things. And that way you're not going to be one of those people who makes that crazy mistake and gets wrecked in the process. This is about money and your future. It's a very serious business, and it's important that we are always considering and conscious about protecting our money and what it's going to do for us and its ability to do for us in the future. And we're going to be saving you a lot of pain, because doing it by yourself and trying to figure it out is a pretty lonely and confusing path, and it often leads to people ending up in financial ruin, and I don't want that to be you. So it is a $5,000 dollar investment as a full course. Before you jump off, if that number happened to scare you, I just want you to understand how well it works. So we've walked through it already. You'll be sitting at home, working at your own pace, setting up everything from the tutorials, and it's going to be a really nice process. And the reason we are working so hard to do this for you, so that you can do it for yourself, is so that you can end up in the ranks of these people, regardless of your age. I know these people are all younger. I got probably a couple decades on most of the people on this page right now, but it's never too late to learn. Remember, Jeremy was a university student. Heather's working away at her job and just focused on her retirement savings. Eric made $6 million by the time he was out of high school. And Rachel, who had been a substitute teacher, is now running her own organization, as is Carl, who used to be a grocery store clerk. And all of them, I don't know about Heather yet, but everybody else reached millionaire status within a few years. Again, you're working through each of the videos at home, taking notes, making your plan. You've got the workbook, but you don't have to do it alone, not only because you have the videos and you have everything in place, but also because we've included a weekly call together where you're going to be able to ask questions and get answers if anything comes up for you that you need a little bit of help with. We also have a Facebook community, so you can talk with other people on the same journey as you. You can be as present or as quiet. If you want to contribute, great. If you want to watch and learn some more, that's great too. And we've included all of those bonus masterclasses, which took me years to find. Those are in there for you, and they are excellent. Like, I'm talking high level education. Again, the course is really well established. It's beautifully laid out for you. And what I'm going to do for you today is I'm not going to charge you $5,000. I'm going to take $2,000 right off the top for the next 10 people that sign up to the program. It'll be $3,000 for you right now. If you're number 10, then you are the last person who's getting it at this price, and will be going up in price. What I want to point out is not just the fact that the video program is priced at $5,000, but also the value of everything else you're getting. You're getting the weekly group question and answer series, which is valued at an extra $1,500 per year. You're getting more resources, including learning how to do your own research and documents and forms that you can fill out that will help you with that process. That's another $500. You're getting university level education through the master classes. If you choose to watch them, that's worth at least $3,000. And how much money do you not want to lose? If you're planning on investing $10,000 this year, or $50,000 this year, or $150,000 this year, learning some of these things, learning all of these things are what's going to help you protect that initial investment and keep you focused on your long-term gains in the future based on your investment plan that you put together with this program. Also, if you don't take the program, then what profits are you missing out on? would you ever reach that status that some of the other people have reached that we looked at before? So this feels like it's a decision made. We know that the program solves your problems. We know that the investment is affordable. I just took that extra bit of money off and gave you some options on payment plans. And if you feel that this is going to work for you and that this feels comfortable between you and I right now, then inside the program is going to be just like this, but on a more in-depth scale, of course, because we get into making sure that you are successful along the journey that you are on. So what I want you to do now is, if all of those things align for you, then I want you to click the Buy Now button down below. Get today's price while it's still available, because if you don't, then nothing changes in your life. I want to see you in the program. I want to watch your life change. And I'm just so excited that you stayed through this entire training and that you're going to be with us on the other side, so that you can be part of the community and part of this new group of investors. I'm excited for you. I'm thrilled about the future you've got ahead of you, and I'm looking forward to meeting you face to face.